Welcome to the Random Article Horoscope, your source of scientifically proven, FDA-approved, guaranteed cures to all the ills you don't have. We begin with Aries. Aries, you enjoy citrus. You enjoy a little bit of lemon squeezed over your salmon. You enjoy a little lime in your G&T, and you like chilies, right? What would a curry be without chili? Something with just something with a bit of kick to really bite back. You like it when your food bites back. Which is funny, because the thing about those foods, that your citrus and your curries and with your chilies, is that those creatures, those plants, citrus and chili, they're trying not to be eaten. That intense bite, that sourness of the citrus, that's evolutionarily an attempt by the plant to be so painful and unpleasant to eat that animals won't do it. That's a defense mechanism, but in some genetic twist of irony, these characteristics have made us love to eat those plants. So, the lesson in here, maybe, is that you, Aries, need to make sure that your defense mechanisms aren't just making you more delicious. But you can see it another way, because the thing about lemons and chilies is that they are now cultivated. There are plantations with rows upon rows of lemon trees and chili plants, which would never exist if it weren't for those defense mechanisms. Is that what you want, though? Like, it's all those cows and chickens and piggies who only exist to be raised to be eaten. Those billions of oinkers in factories who would not be alive if they weren't so delicious. Is that a way to live? It's probably no good living for someone else's griddle. But think on that, Aries. What effect is your defense mechanism having on your deliciousness? Are the things that you do to push people away having the desired effects? Taurus. Here is a list of games that Buddha would not play. Throwing dice, toy windmills, guessing a friend's thoughts, plowing with a toy plow. All of those, that's actually real. Look it up. That's actually real. There's a list of games that Buddha said he would not play. But, Capricorn, a new manuscript will be discovered by you this February. And the list includes: Buddha, in his sequel to the classic original list, said that he will not play Connect 4. He will not play Twister or King's Cup. He will not play Mrs. Pac-Man. He will not play Roblox. He will not play Shrek Smash and Crash Racing. He will not do escape rooms. Buddha refuses to run around a baseball bat until he's dizzy. Buddha refuses to pull your finger. Buddha does not approve of ARGs of any kind. Buddha will not play I Spy with My Little Eye. And Buddha, more than any other, he made this abundantly clear, Buddha will not play Quidditch. Taurus, avoid these games. Gemini. Gemini, you know those ruffs that Elizabethan people wore, the old-timey people in the old-timey times. You know how they wore those large white ruffs, those fabric rings around their necks that look like their heads are on fluffy dinner plates or something. Do you know where that started, Gemini? Well, I'm gonna tell you. In the Austro-Hungarian Empire in the 17th century, there were a bunch of aristocrats in the Herberstein family who started the use of these ruffs, and the reason that happened was that there was a very nasty case of rabies, or the Austro-Hungarian slava, they called it. This slava just spread from aristocrat to aristocrat. There were aristocrats amongst the aristocrats. It was a real interspecies rabies nightmare. That's how it started. Someone got bit by their little tabby, and before they knew it, just the eating of faces was just people, just these well-to-do ladies in dresses larger than they are, just leaping over the tables to eat the faces off their delicate suitors and their admirers and their it was a nightmare. So the aristocrats thought, okay, well, what do we do about this? We're not going to put these afflicted aristocrats in the lunatic asylums with the common rabble. They have to be kept amongst their kind. So they were kept around the unafflicted, but with the addition of these ruffs around their neck, these large devices which were intended to prevent the biting of faces. They were more rigid. These original ruffs, not quite as fluffy and limp as the later ones, but the originals. That's what they were. They were safety devices to prevent face eating by Austro-Hungarian aristocrats. And Gemini, the reason I tell you this, the reason this is your horoscope for February, is that your dog's going to get sick. Don't worry, nothing bad. But your dog's going to get sick, and traditionally, like after the treatment, your dog would have a plastic cone put around their head. But Gemini, you could consider an alternative. You could get one of these classic Austro-Hungarian Elizabethan ruffs around your dog's neck, and it's a pun as well because of the balking, the ruff. So if you want your dog to have all the style, grace, and funny face of an Austro-Hungarian rabies-afflicted aristocrat, chuck him on Fido. Give him a ruff. He'll be the coolest dog on the block. He'll be the envy of all his peers, and he'll have you to thank. Gemini, that's your horoscope for February. Cancer. So here's a story from my mate Sid. So Sid, this old mate of mine was on a hockey team, an ice hockey team. You know how that works. They put the seal bone on strapped underneath the feet and go whacking it around the local lake when it freezes over. That's how we did it at the time. But they were on this ice hockey team, and every year, season after season, they fought to win this ice hockey league. And this was a real social occasion. They all bonded. All of Sid's mates bonded. Undying friendships were forged on the ice, which is a poor metaphor, thermally speaking. But Sid and his mates were these passionate ice hockey players, and they were immensely proud to win the premiership flag in their league each season. Because they often did. Sid had these trophies lining his mantle, a whole line of these ice hockey trophies, which frankly surprised me, because Sid is pretty unco. To be honest, like I wouldn't trust him with a chopstick, let alone a hockey stick. But like, don't tell him I said that. But Sid, you know, he loved this shit. Sid and his mates. It was an endless source of pride for them to bring home the trophy that said Premiers Division 1 Hockey Land Supreme. Division 1 being the top division in the league. And you know, sometimes they didn't win the Premiership trophy, but they didn't mind. As long as they stayed in that top division, Division 1, it was an important part of their pride to be part of that Division 1. But one day, the manager approached them. This was the Duchess of the Rink, who managed all the fixtures and finances and emergency organ transplants that happen daily on a hockey rink. And the Duchess said, "Congratulations, Sid, guys, you've qualified at long last for Division 2 next season." This is a true story. And she said, "Congratulations, you're in Division 2 now." And my mate Sid was distraught. He said we've moved down a rank. We've moved down from the top division. This is terrible. I'm heartbroken. And the Duchess says, this is what she said. She said, "No, you've moved up. Division 1 is the bottom division. You know that, right? And Division 10 is the top. 1 is the bottom. You've moved to the second bottom from the bottom." Cancer, have you ever seen a grown man cry? And I'm not talking like a dignified, manly tear down a perma-stubbled cheek at a funeral. I'm talking like uncontrollable weeping. I'm talking about great, gushy torrents of salty grief juice just shooting out of the tear ducts. I'm talking about tears raining down on the rink, freezing before they hit the ice like the saddest hail you've ever heard. Sid realized in that moment that his pride in being one of the top-ranked teams in the province, all those premiership trophies on his mantle, they were a sad delusion. All of the celebrations that he'd had with his mates over being the best were a lie. And he was just a mess. He was inconsolable. None of his mates. But the Duchess looked at him and shook her head and said, Mate, listen. First of all, being the best is a stupid goal. Because there's always someone better. Like, even if you were the top in the province, there'd still be the national team above you and the Olympic competition above them, and the lunar hockey squad is pretty good these days, and of course, you know, the secret intergalactic interdimensional hockey cabal is on a whole other plane, literally, like 4D hockey shit, man. So listen, Sid, even if it was possible to get to the top, to be the best ice hockey players in the world, would you really want to be that sad fuck who sacrificed everything to be the best at hockey? No, you wouldn't, so don't. But all that said, listen, Sid, all that said, even if being the best still matters to you, somehow, you've just moved up one. So Sid and his mates had a drink that night, and they drank from their premiership trophies as cups, and they weren't the hockey champions they thought they were, but the drinks tasted just as good. Leo, so you're familiar with the concept of a star. I'm not talking about your astrological burning balls of gas. I'm talking about your idealized Euclidean geometrical two-dimensional shapes, you know? Your 2003 Microsoft PowerPoint word art stars. I'm talking about that, stars. I'm talking vertices, I'm talking edges, I'm talking pointy points. I'm talking stars. Leo, do you know what the different kinds of stars mean? See, they should have taught you that in school, but I bet they didn't. Let me tell you, all the different kinds of stars with all the different numbers of points, they all have different connotations, different symbolic meanings. So, if you're talking about your 5-pointed star, that's what's called a pentagram, and that's associated with like occultism, Wiccanism, Satanism, depending on who you ask. Lots of heavy meanings there. That's associated with like satanic panics that happened in like the 60s and whatnot. Symbol of evil in some eyes, but not in others. The 6-point hexagram star of David is the Jewish thing, of course. And the 7-point star, that's from the Australian Southern Cross. Actually, that's actually based on a unique actual astronomical star, which is unique in having exactly 7 points. They checked with a telescope. It's the only one. So that's the Aussie one. There's the 8-pointed star, which is called an Ogdode in the Gnostic tradition. So that's based on the idea of there being 7 planetary spheres, which all revolve around a central, what's called an odd toad, and a cosmic amphibian god. And over the years, that concept of an odd toad evolved into the term Ogdode, which is now the common term. The 9-pointed star is a Baha'i symbol, which is one of those fruity religions you might not have heard of. They're good. They're not bad Baha'is, actually. The 10-pointed star is called a decagram, and it's the eye of Odin as sacrificed at the roots of Yggdrasil to gain the knowledge of runic wisdom. The 11-pointed star, that one's the symbol of Gali, who is, of course, the water bionicle. The 12-pointed star, and this one, don't tell anyone this, but the 12-pointed star is actually 2 6-pointed stars on top of each other. They don't want you to know that, so like, shh, but like, that's the truth. The 13-pointed star, oh Leo, it's cursed. It's super cursed, like super duper cursed. But Leo, it's in your future this February. You will face a 13-pointed star, and Leo, please prepare yourself. Virgo. Virgo, did you know that we exist in a binary planetary system? Did you know that? Do you know, like, it's not visible with mortal eyes, but did you know that there's 2 Earths? 2 Earths orbiting one another in space, spinning delicately around one another, constantly co-present but never quite meeting, existing in a perpetual planetary ballet dance. Did you know that, Virgo? 2 Earths. And there used to be more. Legend says, according to the ancient texts posted on Usenet forums in the mid-90s, there were once 1,000 Earths. 1,000 Earths, millions of them. But one by one, these Earths, by forces ill understood, were pitted against each other. These Earths were taken into pairs, taken into some cosmic arena, and forced to battle for supremacy. These 2 Earths clashed. Each person on the planet faced their counterpart from the other Earth. Each animal, each nation, each system, each concept, philosophy, everything clashed to see what would reign supreme. And by force, or by wit, or by trickery, Each Earth fell to another, eliminating a planet one by one until only these last two remained. You might not remember, there's a whole memory field situation and such, but the point is, Virgo, this February, our planet will clash into its twin, its final twin. You know how, like, certain animals birth like 100 young and the young all fight each other and only one survives? That's what it's like, planetarily speaking. Earth is one last little youngling with only one competitor left, and if we can slay it, if you can slay your counterpart on other Earth, then we survive to reproduce, I suppose. I don't know how it works. But Virgo, get ready. Libra. So you might have had the concern that your blood is strawberry jam. You must have noticed if you accidentally cut yourself recently. It's not blood. It's not what it should be. The stuff running through your veins is strawberry jam. Or at least you feel that way sometimes. Sometimes you feel like your feelings are fake. What if they were put there by someone else? What if you programmed your own feelings in, but then forgot you did it? What if you're deceiving yourself? What if every memory is false? What if everything you think happened never did? What if your limitations aren't real? What if the rules aren't there? What if one day you just forget that you can't walk through walls and you just and you walk through a wall? What if you accidentally bench 100 kegs? You just forgot. What if you forgot gravity? What if you ceased to believe in the force that tethered you to the earth? What if that delusion that there was rules, what if that was the only thing holding you to the dirt? And what if for one moment you let yourself be freed from that delusion and you just suddenly drifted into space, flung off by the rotation of the planet? What if you just exited spontaneously the atmosphere? Well, Libra, you don't need to worry, because naturally it's a powerful, evolutionarily selective mechanism where anyone who for one moment has the thought that, oh, the universe isn't real, anyone who has that thought, well, let's just say that being flung into the vacuum is not good for reproductive success. Anyone who successfully breaks out of that system of rules is immediately jettisoned into the vacuum, both physically, metaphorically, metaphysically, all of the. So don't worry. You come from a long line, millions of generations of organisms, none of whom have thought their way into spontaneous non-existence. So statistically speaking, they say that past events don't guarantee future outcomes, but statistically speaking, Libra, you're at least pretty safe. Scorpio. We all struggle sometimes with getting the sheet onto the mattress, you know, like the elasticized fitted sheet that you're trying to get when you change on the mattress. And look, it's hard to get all four corners of the sheet on the mattress at once. Like you try and get one on, and then you try and get another one, but then the other ones like slip off while you go around the other side of the mattress. So Scorpio, there's a few options here. One technique is to hook each corner of the sheet onto a different hand or foot, and then you look like a little sugar glider. You look like some kind of flying fox with like a sheet skin between your limbs, like some kind of pterodactyl wandered right out of Jurassic mattress store, and so you can do that with the sheet on corner on each bit, and then just body slam the mattress. Just snap every corner of the sheet on simultaneously. You could do that. You could devise all number of wacky, complex Rube Goldberg machine-ian techniques. Alternatively, you could just ask a friend. You can get it on quite easily with someone else. Quite easily. Then you can go and buy a paddle pop and skip off to the bleachers to watch the game. But necessity's the mother of invention, and you could come up with all sorts of techniques working that fitted sheet thing out yourself. Let's just say that, people don't develop groundbreaking sugar glider sheet application techniques by doing things the easy way. You'd be amazed what lone lunatics have accomplished. Just incredible and wildly unnecessary techniques that no team ever could. So Scorpio, your horoscope is to relish in the creative potential of solitude, but also to remember to go and get that paddle pop. Sagittarius. You know how wells work? You know when you got a thirst, when you got a mighty hankering for some of that H2O goodness. You know when you dig a hole, you get your favorite shovel, you dig on down, you tunnel, you work, you sing a song, you dig till you get down to what's called the water table. This whole swimming little vesicle of sweet water right beneath your feet. Who would have thought? Water from the earth itself. Well, you dig down to the well and you drink, but soon enough, once you're drunk enough, the water goes down like Tantalus in Hades. The water sinks down, so you got to keep digging. You got to keep digging to feed your growing thirst, and the more you dig, the thirstier you get. Soon enough, you got whole tons of rock getting pulled out of the earth every day. You got industrial-scale drilling machines cracking down deep into the mantle, braving the brimstone for rivulets of sweet, sweet wet. A seam of spring water hidden beneath a rock, down with the ore, down with the bones. That's how it's working. That's how it works. That's the science. That's true. So you dig and you dig deeper into the crushing pressure of the Earth's core, and the heat of the magma makes you sweat all the more. And it's getting crazy. You're just drinking, you're just chugging gallons. At the same time, your arms are blackened, pulling out chunks with the shovel. You dig deeper until the pressure seems infinite, and then suddenly, the floor just drops away from the bottom of your water mine. The well just opens up downwards, and you see it's a tunnel dropping down infinitely, a well below yours, as though someone's done all the work for you. But there's a face, a sweaty, blackened, thirsty face, looking up at you from your well. And you say, "What are you doing at the bottom of my well?" And they say, "What are you doing at the bottom of my well?" Because here's the thing, Sagittarius. There's always some other motherfucker on the other side of the world digging a parallel well. However deep you're digging, some other fucker's doing a concurrent, opposite, mirrored well situation. And if you dig deep enough, you'll meet. What's the moral of the story? What does it mean, Sagittarius? Should you dig the well? Should you just go to the other side and just borrow the other person's well? Should you just drink Fanta instead? This segment was sponsored by Fanta. Capricorn. Capricorn, you have a finite number of days being alive. And that's hard to understand. You've probably heard it before, but try and really grasp the physicality of it. There is a mushy, uncooked meatloaf in your chest cavity called a heart. And every second of your life, every moment, your heart beats. It's like a timer, a ticking clock. It's like the footsteps of an approaching shadow, an unwelcome guest, but an inevitable one. It ticks, and it ticks, and it ticks, and it ticks, until one day, ding, it's fucking done. It's like a microwave, yeah? The timer stops, the heat ends, the heat goes away, and cosmic hands reach down and they remove you from the sweet embrace of the microwave of life, and gently, tenderly, they place your warm corpse, shroud-wrapped, like a baby, into the cradle of your grave. And it's cold down there. It's cold in the dirt with the worms. It's quiet. All the heat from your microwave-warmed life slowly cools. All the energy and memory in your flesh drips away into the darkness. So here's the thing, Aries. Here's your horoscope. Your finite numbered days, spend them in sunshine. Feel the warmth on your skin. Soak it in and store the heat. This is literal. This is a literal, just be under the sun. Fill every cell of your body to the brim with golden yellow until you start to photosynthesize. Fill yourself with warm before they put you in the dark. Because down there, in the cold, in the soil, that's all you'll have. Down in the grave you'll have no money, no status, no opinions from others. You won't even have your friends and lovers. You'll only have the memories of such to keep you warm. You'll only have the last bits of thermal energy from the sun. And that's actually how graveyards work. You know the reason why people are buried together in this big mass outside of town? That's because the proximity of all the graves in the coffins, it conserves the corpse heat. Like penguins huddling in the Antarctic wasteland of the underworld. It's like those solar batteries. You know, like at solar farms now, they have these huge hunks of salt, these big rocks that get heated up in the day and remain hot all through the night. It's because salt just chemically, just naturally, just stores heat like forever. So make your heart the same. Make your heart a big chunk of salt and charge it up every day, relentlessly. Spend every hour in the sun, every moment you're alive. And sure, against the infinity of death, your finite heat has to run out eventually, right? No matter how much warmth you store, it's got to run out. Well, Capricorn, have you ever heard of an asymptote? You ever heard of Achilles and the tortoise? If the heat in your grave, mathematically, if it halves every day, from half the heat to a quarter to an eighth to a 16th, if it goes on like that, all through the infinity of death, it will never actually hit zero. So long as you've got some sliver of heat just lurking in that asymptote, stretching into infinity, as long as you have that that little ray of sun. You'll have a sliver of warmth in cold death. Aquarius. Aquarius. So there's this story that you might have heard. I think it's a true one. Where this giant disembodied face traps the population of Earth. Like millions of people, billions, are all stuck in a giant perpetual traffic jam. And every person on Earth, like, they live and they die in these tiny limited lives in their little hovering sedans over and over forever. Everyone exists in their cars in this traffic jam forever. But the twist is, it turns out that the reason why the face trapped everyone in there is to protect everybody from crab people. Now, my mate Sid, he has a theory that the cosmic cycle of life and reincarnation on Earth, all of us trapped in the little limited car dimensions that we call our skulls. His theory is that those limitations on our lives, they are a trap that protect us from crab people. A lot of people want to free themselves from the cycle. They want to achieve enlightenment, break out of the perpetual traffic jam of existence, non-existence, re-existence. But you got to be wary of the possibility of crab people. I'm not saying don't break free, Gemini. I'm not saying not to break the chains that limit your perception to the mortal planes that reign in Spain. So I'm just saying that if you do reach into the fifth dimension, make sure you have a crab contingency plan. Of course, my mate Sid has another theory. Another theory about the crabs. He says, maybe the cosmic face isn't protecting us from the crabs. Maybe the cosmic face of God traps us in the gridlock of life in order to protect the crabs from us. Aquarius, maybe the gods are scared of us. Maybe one day the time will come to fucking make some sushi out of Lucifer. You know what I'm saying? Sharpen your seafood knives, Aquarius. Because the day's coming. We're gonna find out. We're gonna face the crabs. Pisces. Pisces, do you ever feel like you're trapped in a cube? Cubes have a lot going for them. Cubes are very authoritarian, brutalist, efficient. They tessellate, you know? Easy to fill a hole with cubicles. Easy to stack them up like Lego, you know? Cubes are great to be trapped in. But why not, Pisces? Why not try new shapes? How about this? Crazy idea. Why not be trapped in a pyramid instead? Why not be trapped in a rhombical triangle? Why not be trapped in a truncated icosahedron? You know, get wild with the shapes. Get #creative. Express yourself, you know? Pisces, you should trap yourself in the most colorful, unique, expressive, dynamic box that you can imagine. Ophiuchus. So as you know, the way eyes work is that the light hits your lens at the front of your eye, and the lens sends the light to hit your retina at the back of your eye, and that's where all of the processing takes place, and that's how you see from the retina sent up to the brain. But the interesting thing about the lens is that the lens flips the image that you see. This is true. The lens flips the image upside down. So the image of the world that hits your retina is upside down. It's only in your brain or in the nerves, the optic nerves, that it's flipped again. It's like it's fixed in post, as they say in Hollywood. It comes in upside down, then it gets flipped by your brain. Now, hypothetically, if Ophiuchus, you bypassed that little brainial algorithm, if you changed that function, if you short-circuited that microchip, you would see the world as it truly appears on your retina. The reality of the light that hits your retina is upside down. Now similarly, Ophiuchus, it's a little-known fact that we as humans actually perceive time backwards. And we don't have a special brainial function to compensate. Because in reality, in the real world, time runs from future to present to past. In reality, effects precede causes. Death comes before life. Milk comes before cornflakes. But Ophiuchus, our brains, they automatically reverse that flow. They make it incorrect. Unlike the lens, it changes our perception to be wrong. It makes it seem like the past comes before the present, when it doesn't. Now, theoretically, we could change that. We could alter the widget tree in our central ophiuchal pineal glands, and we could see the universe as it is. We could see the true flow of time, from future to present to past. But Ophiuchus, if you altered your perception to be true and accurate, Ophiuchus, you would be very confused. You'd be very confused if you saw the way things really were, with the birds returning to their eggs and things falling up and with the Fruit Loops and whatnot. You'd be very disoriented if you saw the truth. You'd be almost as disoriented as someone who had their retinal image flipped to be accurate and upside down. So Ophiuchus, the point is that sometimes the truth and the reality doesn't help you. It doesn't help you unless you're willing to work in a backwards universe. Thank you for listening to the random article Horoscope. Do all of the things that you like to do, and I'm not gonna tell you otherwise.